everybody, and welcome to our channel. This is Where It's At. Today we're going to be reviewing the Tom Hanks movie directed by Paul Greengrass, Captain Phillips. Tale about a very great hero who managed to save the lives of everybody on his ship, and I'm sure this is going to generate a lot of discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Calm down, young Padawan.
Okay.
Here on my ship, we have a bunch of people with me right here. We have our Chief Officer, David.
Hello.
Our Chief Engineer, Kerry.
Hey.
Our Bosun, Daniel.
Good evening.
And our seafaring cook, Paul.
Ahoy!
And I am your captain. I will guide you through these waters and ensure, well...
Safe travels.
Yeah, ensure safe travels and no pirates on the shore.
Watch out for mermaids.
Whatever.
All right.
Yeah, anyway, we're going to jump right into this and start with what our impressions was of the story so far. So we'll start from my left. So, Kerry, you want to take it away?
All right, story about Captain Phillips. Well, first impressions, I like it to a point. I know I'm sounding redundant now from the Gravity review, but this movie either should have ended earlier, or I'm not saying every movie's got to be a short film now, but
What are you talking about?
this movie took a drastic turn somewhere. Well, you know, right when Phillips gets taken, it becomes a different movie, and I
Basically,
didn't
halfway
really like where it went after that. So, I mean, I'll talk more about it. Let's hear what Danny has to say about the story for now.
For me, I liked it. I liked the story. I like where it went. I think with you, Kerry, too, and I think maybe most of us would say this, I don't know, but for me, yeah, I liked everything on the big cargo boat.
The Maersk.
Yeah, whatever.
Maersk, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
That I liked everything on that, and then the minute when they got into the
The
lifeboat, I think just got repetitive after that, and then turned into like you said, a different movie. But I did like it. So that's my thing.
David?
Well, I kind of like the story that was presented on screen, or for fabrication, I should say. But we'll get into that later. I do feel it's a well-made. It's a well-made film. Yeah. I mean, Paul Greengrass. His movies are good, and that's just basically about it. I haven't seen any movie that's like beyond good. But the movie was solid, and that's what I expected from it. It was times where I just felt like it was repetitive, but I mean, overall, it's not a terrible film.
Paul?
All right. I thought the story was decent. I would have liked it if we found out a little more about Captain Phillips off the boat and his life, to give me a little more reason to want to be behind him and care about what was going on with him. We pretty much had that opening scene in the car on the way to the airport, which gave you a little insight, but not a lot. I thought we were going to get a little more insight into the actual head Somali pirate. I liked it that we saw where he started, but once we meet him, he's in the water within like 5 minutes. Yeah. So I didn't really get a sense of why he turned. I guess he wasn't a very in charge pirate, and then he became a very in charge pirate or something. I don't know. So I mean, again, I agree with David. I like what was presented to me, but I felt like there was a lot more there that could have been involved with the characters themselves, and this was more of the event film, like the whole entire event that occurred, and not just Captain Phillips. So I was a little disappointed that it didn't go a little more in depth, but for what it was good.
I agree.
To me, this film just felt like two movies in one. One of it felt like a very character-driven story about Captain Phillips and how he wanted to protect his crew. Of course, Tom Hanks knocks it out of the park as the captain. And then it just turned into a completely different movie. And like Danny and Kerry said, after he gets into the lifeboat, it just turns into almost like an ad campaign for the Army, or
it becomes
join the Army now.
A Navy SEALs training video,
yeah, exactly.
Or a commercial,
basically
propaganda up the ass.
I couldn't get into that. I liked the character that was presented to us of Captain Phillips. I liked how he tried to keep his crew safe, and the story seemed to have a theme of like work you know, like you know, the work you do. The beginning of the movie, he's talking to his wife about how his son needs to go to college, needs to get
and
a good
he's
job.
afraid he won't work hard enough.
He's talking about all the safety precautions of the ship. Right
Yeah.
away, he's upset they don't lock anything.
Yeah.
And even the pirates, the head pirate,
Takes
what's his name?
precautions.
Hughes. Yeah, no. He wants to get on the ship. You see his desire to get on because maybe he has a family he wants to make money for. Like, it's all about that. It's all about doing good
But
work.
you don't see it.
But then the whole second half, you don't see a family, but you could tell, like, when
You kinda
everyone's
get that
saying,
impression,
"Who
I
wants to
think.
come on
Yeah.
my crew?"
Yeah,
when the head Somali
Kind of.
pirate's
You
saying
don't
that.
have to go into that deeply to understand
Kind of.
that.
Because
But
in the beginning,
he's the first one that says, he's the first one, I want to be on this ship. The second half of the movie just lost me. It was just about getting Captain Phillips back. He took a less active role. I wasn't crazy about it, but I'm sorry, David. Go ahead. What were you
like
saying?
in the beginning where you see the Somali pirate character name is Muse or Musey, whatever. You can tell that his that's his village. Like they're all together. Like it's a village of families, and unfortunately, in order for them to work, they're fishermen, but that's not good enough. So there's the Somali warlord has them go hijack ships and get as much money as they can and bring it back to him.
Got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do.
That's what's really cool. Like, if you take it another way, like, he's a fisherman. What do fishermen do? They go on a boat, throw the line out, and try to catch fish. Well, he caught a fish, and it was a huge boat
Big.
with cargo and all this stuff. And that part I really like, when he's like, yeah, I'm a fisherman. And it just hit me. I was like, kind of like it was that part I really liked.
You get a cool contrast to two men just out at sea working, but to work, both of them kind of have to, cancel out the other guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the only way that it's gonna work for each one of them.
Absolutely.
Which was such a cool story. It started so cool, on the boat, and then we meet the crew. As incompetent as they are, I wanted to see more of them. I wanted to see them grow as characters through the guide of Phillips.
I found it funny that everyone was presented as incompetent, but
Phillips, right?
That was hysterical.
Well,
there was not one guy
except the chief engineer was like a slight,
he
the
wasn't
guy
a bigger guy. Like, he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, the way they portrayed the crew was lazy,
for the most
lazy
part,
coffee drinking guys.
Yeah.
It had to have Phillips come down. I can't wait till we get to this section.
Dude.
It had to have Phillips come
Be
down.
patient.
It had to have Phillips come down and say, "Hey guys, come on, we're on the clock. Come on, you got 15 minutes. Let's go. We got to get back to work. You got to tighten security, everything." This character in the movie was so tight with security. He was like on a T.
Yeah, he reads the emails.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows exactly what he's got to do. He's got to give him the drills.
Exactly.
Right after that first drill, the pirates come.
And
so
he emails
he
his
was
wife.
ready.
How much better can you get in terms of a good person,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he
right.
doesn't tell his wife what happens.
Oh, yeah, well, whatever.
But
One thing slipped through the radar,
You don't have
gonna
to tell
do?
your wife everything.
I mean, it's not like in real life he's a
Hey,
terrible
honey,
person.
pirates came by. I'll be back.
But yeah. So
Is everyone...
I mean, well, so where do you want to go from here?
Are you done talking about the story? Like, hey, Paul, you have anything else to say? Or?
No, that's pretty much it with story.
Yeah, really. That's bare bones this time. We can talk about the characters now. Like, anyone you want to talk about. Kerry, we'll start with you again.
I loved Phillips' character. Obviously, he's the guy in charge. Or at least he's portrayed that way. It's supposed to be this true story about an American hero, and it shows us, this is a guy who gets shit done. He gets his crew into action. He takes the proper precautions, and that's why they're able to thwart the pirate invasion that eventually comes on board. And then, the second half we see that Phillips, who the movie's named after, is himself incompetent because he's thrown into a lifeboat where he's in a situation he can't help himself. He's, what can you really do then? And then it becomes this Navy SEALs training video where we're just watching for. It got tedious. Come on.
Yeah, no.
For like an hour or an hour and a half, whatever it was, just Navy captain talking to a SEAL, talking to another guy on a Navy boat. 3 warships surround them. And it's just how they're going to deal with it. They're negotiating. They're sending gunners in. it really dragged. Like I wanted to see more Phillips. It's named Captain Phillips.
Don't forget the same conversation between Phillips and Muse. You know, oh, Irish. You know, you're not going to do this. Irish. You know.
Yeah.
Come on, didn't that kind of get repetitive? Do you think? Or?
It did. It definitely did. It seemed like they were running out of things to show within the lifeboat.
Yeah.
It would just kind of skip to them. They would talk about the same thing. You know, him and Irish and Muse back and forth, and then back to the Navy warship. Like. How much of this do you really want to watch? And then you knew how it was going to end by then anyway.
Do you think it was like padding for time, basically?
Yeah, it felt like that. And it also just felt like a lot of propaganda. It was too heavy on the military aspect. Like, go Army, go America. I you know, that shit was really
You open the movie up
tedious.
with these two characters in their two worlds, you know.
Yeah. And then it gets completely
and then
thrown
it just
out of the
turns
water.
into an Army-like picture.
Yeah,
Exactly.
true.
It's just,
which I wasn't all that into. It was cool, but I wasn't invested in it.
For me, with characters, like Tom Hanks, you know, Tom Hanks, he's that dude, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we're not on that subject yet, but as character, I like him as Phillips. You know, Tom Hanks was good, you know. He wasn't like, oh my god, you know, except, you know, for the ending, he was pretty,
Yeah, I think he did a really good
you know,
job.
that part really, like, well, like, why
definitely.
couldn't that be throughout the whole movie?
Exactly.
I know.
Yeah,
I give him that.
Exactly.
I mean, there was a few parts, you know, I chuckled where, you know, he jumped into the water. I thought it was the sequel to Castaway. He was going after Wilson and stuff. Wilson, I'm back!
Yeah,
It's 10 years!
that was a futile
No,
attempt.
but getting back to it, I liked him in it. The pirate was surprisingly good,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah, what's the guy's name who played
His name is Barkhad Abdi.
I liked him.
Yeah,
He did a good
Barkhad.
job with the role.
Barkhad, I'm sorry.
Barkhad was really good in it. There was some parts I was like, alright, you know, he missed a little beat here and there, but majority, he was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, surprisingly, he was pretty damn good. One disappointment I have with the characters is the supporting cast. There is none.
Yeah, it's
There
all
is
Phillips.
none. It's just
all
all
Tom
Phillips
Hanks.
and that dude, you know.
It's all faces, basically.
It's all Irish.
And you know, like last week when we talked about Gravity, and I think Vlad brought this up. It's like, oh, I wish there was more of a supporting cast to it too, and not just two characters. Well, in this one, I felt it more with this than that one. That one I was fine with two characters. This one I was like,
This one that this is a movie
give me a little bit more,
support.
but overall, and I thought it was gonna be Die Hard on a boat at one point. I was like, Tom Hanks is gonna get his
Strap a machine gun to his
I would have liked that a lot.
I would've loved
more.
no shoes. Well, I did
Instead
the no
of the
shoes
army,
thing.
that would've
Yeah,
been
they did
awesome.
already do the no
That
shoes
was
clean.
funny, but
That
overall,
would've been cool.
it was good characters. It was cool.
David.
Well, of course, I mean, Tom Hanks, any role he takes, he smashes it, and I mean that in a good way. You know, so I wasn't really surprised when, you know, I got a solid performance from him. I won't say that it's an Oscar-worthy performance, but
No, not cool.
it would have been an Oscar-worthy performance if they kept the same sequence when he got rescued. Because right when he got rescued, I swear to God, that was probably the best acting I seen in the film. When he was so traumatized, and they're asking
it was
him,
so powerful. Dude.
yeah. It's just like he really acted like he couldn't hear them because he was still so. He still had so much trauma. He was in shock.
Yeah.
Never been
You know,
through this before.
he never been through this before.
It was
So
just so
I thought,
real watching
I
that.
thought that particular sequence, beautiful. Unfortunately, that's only one segment of the film, which is only like 30 seconds. So you know, I mean, he brought a solid performance. The character Musi, played by Barkhad Abdi, I got to give it.
Get to know that name.
Yeah, get to know that name because
We're gonna say it a lot.
Barkhad Abdi.
But honestly, I got to give it to this man because I don't know if y'all know, this is his actually first film. He's never had any acting experience prior to
Knocked
this.
it out of the park.
Okay,
son, yeah.
I believe
I'm the captain now.
it was him. I think I think the other supporting characters, Naji, played by Faisal Ahmed, and Almai, played by Mahat Miali.
Was that the guy who stepped on the glass?
No,
Yeah, I
I couldn't get his name. I didn't know that it wasn't on there.
Oh, so that was
That was an
strongest guy
Oscar-worthy
in the-
performance, man. Someone's got to
yeah,
commend him
Face
for
on
that.
me
The
is
10-second later reaction to the glass stepping. Yeah.
Yeah, Faisal Ahmed is the guy who's the big and strong. Okay.
The one that always like
Mahat
fights with him.
Yeah,
they always are.
Yeah. Mahat M. Ali is the guy who's just steering the boat. I can't really say much about that guy other than he could really put on a great facial expression and scream well and steer the shit out of a boat. So I got it. I got it.
Y'all don't know what's going on. I'm just staring.
This is why we're going to videos soon,
okay.
man. You gotta see this.
John?
Yeah. But Najee, the guy Faisal Ahmed.
Watching.
Yeah, Faisal Ahmed is he was pretty dope. He was pretty dope because he really showed like this guy who was like, no, you gotta hurt him in order to get through to them. You know, he showed that, you know, that we gotta be ruthless type of aspect. But the really guy that I was really impressed with was Barkhad Abdi, the head Somali pirate. I thought that I was like, wow, this guy who's really Somali, he's actually Somali.
Oh wow!
And he came from, I think it was it Minneapolis? He said, I'm probably getting that wrong, but somewhere in the United States where a lot of Somali people immigrate to, right? And he heard about this. He heard about this from his friend. He saw it on TV that they were casting, and he was like, all right, let me go. And when he went, he was an hour late. And then he went in and he auditioned. He gets a call from Paul Greengrass. He flies him out to LA. All the rest is history.
Do you just go in and say, I'm the captain?
Lucky break, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was.
I'm the actor now.
Yeah, exactly. Look at me. Look at me.
Movie.
I'm the director now. Okay, but yeah,
I love to see De Niro and this guy do a whole 20 minutes of look at me, look at me.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Yeah,
But-
I was watching Heat.
Yeah.
Look at me.
But to cut it short, honestly, it was. I mean, listen, all the people who were in the lifeboat, solid performances. I'm not gonna say everybody was terrible. They were solid performances.
No one was
some
terrible.
some
No
was
one,
good,
man.
better than the others. But yeah, that's how I feel about the characters.
Awesome.
Paul, what do you think?
I think, like the story, there's a lot that seems like there's there in terms of characters that we just don't get. With Phillips, all I could get a sense of his character is that he's following protocol, has to get the job done on time, does what he's paid to do, follows the regulations, and does whatever he can to save his crew when the moment comes. That's about it with his character. So in a character sense, he's a stand-up guy that's going to do the right thing. Okay, with the pirate, he seemed a little. What I liked most about the pirate character is he was very intelligent. Okay, he knew when to stop, he knew when to keep going, he knew when not to believe Phillips, he knew when to believe him. But again, there's a whole feels like there's a whole section missing to what makes these people who they are. Okay, that we just don't get in the film. So, character-wise, it's like the story. There's a lot more to it that I would like to have seen from them, other than the events unfolding, just giving me glimpses of who these people are. And, you know, I mean, this film, I talked to you, Daniel, about it the other day. This film, even though it's based on true events, feels like a Die Hard movie, a big Hollywood action film that would have had all these supporting characters and all these, like, scenarios. You know, oh, we got to get here, boom, big explosion, and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So where those moments would have occurred in a big Hollywood movie, never had a chance to occur in this movie, because it's just not the same kind of film.
I agree.
And overall, it's just like I feel with every segment of this movie, they tried too hard to make it real. Okay, and it's not that engaging. Okay, it's not that dramatic. It's not. You don't have us that invested in real people. You know, you got to give them a little spice or something like that to give us something to hold on to. You know, I mean, when he writes that email, when Phillips writes the email to his wife, that did nothing.
A lot of movies would do that.
The whole time he's in the lifeboat,
Cut to.
the whole time he's in the lifeboat, you know, he never seemed scared or anything. You know, he seemed like he was totally in control the whole time.
Yeah.
And same thing with the pirates. I mean, the pirates seemed freaked out once they got into the lifeboat, but that doesn't really say anything to do with character. Other than they were very inexperienced and going against the Navy. You know, whenever they open the door, you see like these big ships out there.
Jesus.
So that was kind of cool. So yeah, I would say it's funny that I enjoy this movie so much, but I just feel let down in terms of how in depth the story was and how plain and neutral the characters felt.
Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah, I have to go back to what Paul was saying. I just noticed it. Well, Tom Hanks acts so cool. It's like you said, he acts so cool, and it's only until the last segment that he actually starts getting scared and
once he's rescued.
Once he's rescued, that's when he's like.
So, it felt like he's going through such a traumatic time right now that when it you get the sense at the ending he's been through hell, right? Mm-hmm. But you see him during the movie, he doesn't really go through hell. I mean, yeah, they hit him in the side a couple times.
Yeah, I mean
that's another thing I was saying about. He doesn't get tortured.
You know what?
Anything.
Like you brought up, like if this was a Hollywood movie, it'd be like Die Hard. Well, John McClane went through hell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie.
To find his wife and to take down Hans Gruber, this dude looked like he went through hell at the end. But it was just a gunshot to a head that made him...
Captain Phillips had everyone's blood on him. That was it.
Yeah, basically.
Whatever.
Wasn't even his own blood, exactly.
It didn't feel like anybody's life was really in danger.
Yeah, you knew, you knew he was going to keep him alive. Mm-hmm. You know, you knew one couldn't kill the other. Captain Phillips obviously wasn't going to do anything. He just wanted his crew safe.
Even when they had the gun to one of the crew members,
he wasn't going to do it. And
you knew they weren't going to shoot them.
The character even knew he's not going to shoot me. And actually, I had something I wanted to say, and I completely forgot what it was about these characters. Other
than that, what would you want to talk about next?
Well, other than that, closing thoughts on that. It's just Tom Hanks is great. And like everyone else, I was really impressed with Barkhad over there. I guess next if you want to talk about directing wise, like how the movie looked like, how it was shot, I know it's a big area of discussion we had yesterday. So
Greengrass, you know right off the bat it's Greengrass because I know him by name, but I knew it was him, the guy directing, because the shaky cameras. It's like all he does is try to make a scene more engaging, more nerve-wracking by shaking the camera like all over the place. And that doesn't do anything for me. Like I feel like you make a story nerve-wracking by throwing characters into really tough situations and seeing how they struggle through. Didn't feel like Captain Phillips was ever struggling through anything here. So he kind of tries to compensate for that lack of struggle by taking the camera and just throwing it on a vibrator or something. Like didn't really do anything for me.
I think it did for him.
But I guess this goes with directing. Like I do not like where Greengrass took the second half of the film. He's obviously this like military nut because it's all the fucking movies he does. And the
actually, I understand why he did that. And when we get into the controversy section of the podcast, you're gonna understand why too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually based on the true event that happened. So it wasn't so much as his decision that actually is what happened. The Navy did get involved.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't like, Captain Phillips saved his crew, which I thought it was going to be too.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be single-handedly. Mm-hmm. He saves his whole crew. That's why I thought the movie.
That's why I thought the movie was
called.
That's why it's called Captain Phillips. Yeah.
Look, I didn't think it was going to be an action star.
Yippee-ki-yay.
But
in Somalian or whatever.
Directing wise, it was pretty solid. I mean, that's really it. What about you, Danny?
All right. I only like two movies of this guy, Paul Greengrass, and that's United 93, which is a good movie, and Born 3. The second Born movie.
Ultimatum.
Yeah, Ultimatum.
Ultimatum.
Supremacies, whatever. It's like this. All of them are really the same thing, but the third one's just creative with the editing process, the jump cuts, and what's the name? Green Zone, which was so boring. Which was the second half of this movie at one point to me. It was just boring. But what you said, Kerry, about cinematography and the whole Shaky-Cam thing, and you said that sometimes you don't need to do that to have an engaging scene or have characters there or a situation that's so powerful. I could give you one scene that's way more powerful, and if it had Shaky-Cam, it would have sucked. And that's Paul Thomas Anderson's Boogie Nights scene when they go for the drug deal. Remember that scene?
I remember.
The Jesse's girl scene.
Oh,
when the guy's going nuts. Take that scene. It's so perfectly shot.
Oh yeah.
And it's just looks. You know what I mean? It's just looks. Boom, boom. Smart cutting. Wide. Sometimes it pushes in. and not once there was Shaky-Cam.
Exactly.
And I think this day and age, Shaky-Cam is such like considered an artistic thing to me personally. It's just a cheap way to not know where to go with a scene. To me, you know, I could be wrong, but I could be right. That's just my big gripe with it. I just don't like this guy's style. You know, his style is just very all over the place. And like, if I did it as a filmmaker, people would go, "Why'd you do that? You suck." But because this guy's done good movies and good stories, he's allowed to do this, and it's because it's his style. People like it.
So wait, well, what would you do since you kind of brought that up
for the film?
Yeah, what would you do in like 2 or 3 sentences? Like, what would you do?
Well, I didn't direct it. For
no,
me,
I mean, you brought that up.
I would have kept it regular, man. Just like he could have shot. There's shots in it where it's so smooth. Yeah, just
not
so
moving.
Smooth. Yeah,
not
very,
nauseating.
I don't need to know the camera's shaking. That right now it's an intense scene and his world's getting all fucked up and all that. You know, you could have had it there. And the ending with Tom Hanks. I was about to say Tom Cruise, but Tom Hanks. When he's just emotionally gone, is the camera shaking? Not really.
No, it's not.
It's really bang right there, and he's fucking giving.
And that's actually the best scene in the movie, and that was that's what I was gonna say before. That was the only character bit that I loved from him, but I felt wasn't earned because he was obviously upset they killed the kid on the thing who stepped in the glass, and it killed everyone else. He wanted to resolve it without anybody dying. It seemed, and I just felt that wasn't really earned in terms of the writing. I just feel like that was like, oh, we need to end this movie on an emotional note. So we have to have something. And it was perfect, but I just felt like, wow, this kind of came out of nowhere. I like it, but like, really, wow. That was
that's your
a little awkward.
And that's my thing, too, to answer your question.
But sorry to go off topic there. David.
As far as director-wise, I'm gonna go along with Kerry and Danny. Shaky-Cam was not needed. You did not need that for the intense scenes.
Wait till we get to me.
You know, personally, you can have an intense scene and have a steady cam, and it's still intense just by the emotion and the stuff's going on.
Kubrick.
Yeah,
Shining.
yeah, exactly. Lovely, amazing movie. Yeah. Okay. So as far as the way it was shot, I mean. Maybe that falls on the cinematographer, but I don't think so because the director is talking to the cinematographer and telling him what he wants. So, and this is usually in Greengrass movies. This is usually what I see. So I'm guessing what it says to me is this is what he always wants. He likes it, and you know,
it's his MO. Man.
Yeah, it is his MO. Now it does. Now, as far as you know, more so directing, I really do have to give him credit though with. I'm going to go back to him. Barkhad, Abdi, Faisal Ahmed, Mahat M. Ali. These are all first-time actors. Now, Greengrass has worked with top-notch actors. He's worked with Matt Damon, some other people. Can't think of their names. Forgive me.
It's pretty much just Matt Damon.
Yeah. But,
That's true. It's just Matt Damon.
But, regardless.
Julia Stiles.
Julia Stiles, some other people.
10 Things I Hate About You.
He spoke to these guys. He's like, listen, this is what I want. And if you're talking to people who never acted before a day in their life and their performances are solid or even believable, I gotta say, you gotta have some directing chops for that. Yeah. And plus, what I really gotta give him credit for is taking chances for taking a risk for giving these guys these parts because they have no kind of acting experience whatsoever, and this is Hollywood. You could have just simply went to any experienced black actor and made him look Somali, and then called it a day. But no, he wanted authenticity.
With the Somali part.
Oh my god, trumpet boy!
Come on, get off my boy.
He is a boy.
Shut up.
All right, enough.
Go ahead. No, you was gonna ask something.
He completely threw me off the entire town. No. We'll get back to that.
All right,
keep going.
Yeah, so I gotta give credit when credit is due. I mean, the guy is a decent director. He makes good, solid movies. I'm not gonna say that they're terrible, but I'm not gonna say that they're great. Yeah. But I gotta give credit when credit is due. When you take 3 people who are not actors at all and you make them act to the point where they're believable on screen, And I didn't even know until I had to do research. It was after I saw the movie that I found out that these guys never acted.
Looked it up. One credit, IMDb.
Exactly.
Captain Phillips. Like, what?
Exactly. I looked at all their history. It said actor, one. Each one of them said one actor. That means one film. And this was the film that they did. So I will give credit when credit is due. He did a good job on that. But other than that...
He's pounded the microphone.
Yeah. What about you, Paul?
I'm not the biggest Greengrass fan. I met him when I worked at a theater. We did the United 93 premiere for the New York Film Festival, and I don't know. I don't see where he learned how to be a filmmaker. It seems like he could take stories from A to B to C, but not with his camera. Okay, I think Shaky-Cam is just it's a lazy form. Absolutely. It's not having talent to use your camera to tell a story. So that's how I view all Shaky-Cam with action films, and again, he started with the Bourne movies, which were action films. So I always thought that his style would get better with each film, and it just seems to be staying the same. So that's something I'd like to see from him in the future, is to get out of his comfort zone. Okay, work with someone else, or work on a type of project that has such a huge budget where they wouldn't allow him to do the things he likes to do. Excuse me. I didn't like Bourne Supremacy. I didn't like Bourne Ultimatum. I liked United 93, which I felt was the exact same movie that this was, though, okay? Where he doesn't bring any real drama to his films. Okay, there's nothing having me on the edge of my seat. He's too realistic for his own good, okay? He needs to make a movie that has nothing to do with something like this, so he could tell a real story, okay? With the acting credit, there is so much rehearsal and preparation before they even say action with these films that I don't even know how closely Greengrass really worked with these guys. Okay, there's so many people that make films, acting coaches, dialect coaches. I'm sure he was there and he had influence, but I'm not going to give him all the credit in the world. Someone had to say the final okay for these guys, and it wasn't him. Okay,
so you don't think he brought that performance out? You think someone else?
He had a hand in it, of course. Okay, but excuse me. I just don't think it was. If the studio said to him, "We don't want him," we weren't going to get him. Okay, so I think he got lucky with these choices. Obviously, you don't have to pay these guys a lot of money to do it. It's their first role. They were very great. They were authentic. They were genuine, and I do give him some credit, but I'm not going to give him all the credit there. I give him no credit when it comes to Hanks. Hanks is a veteran actor that knows what he's doing, and I'm sure he's involved with his directors a lot. There's meetings that get into this, but it all comes down to the real talent of the actors. And I had a conversation with my friend years and years ago about why are there bad performances from good actors, and they usually blame the editor, not the director, the editor, because there's so many takes of each scene, and usually the editor is preparing the film before the director really gets his final say in it. There's usually like a couple of takes that they'll mark down. Okay, these are the ones I want to keep. But who knows whose fault it is to get a bad performance. So I can't say who's to give credit for great performances. But Greengrass on a whole, he's okay. I think he was nominated for United 93 for the Academy Award, which I can see why. I hope he doesn't get it for this one, because to me it's just a repeat performance.
I don't think he will.
No. I hope not. There's only 5 nominations for that category. I hope it always stays that way, so it makes it tougher for Hollywood popular people to get in. Like, this guy just seems like he's lucky. He's getting great actors in films that have bankability. I'd like to see him make a film with absolutely no one of names that nobody knows and see how popular it is.
That's not a true event.
Yeah.
My thoughts are, in terms of directing, first I'm going to talk about the shaky camera business. I forgot he directed Green Zone, and watching this movie, I actually walked out of it twice because I was feeling nauseous. Like, I did not feel good. I was into it, but I just look, I gotta step out for like 2 minutes or so. And I just, paced around outside. And I remember you told me, hey, he's the same guy who directed Green Zone. And I remember, I walked out of that movie too. I left, actually, because it was making me just nauseous. And I do like the 2 Bourne movies. They're okay to me. I do like United 93. However, those I saw, on DVD, and those don't do anything. But in the theater, for me, like, it's very unsettling to see it like that. It gives you a headache, it nauseates you, and however, in terms of why he does that, I feel like it's overcompensating because there's not much of there's a story there, but it's not as strong as it could be. It's attention grabbing. It's distracting us from, like, oh, what's going on here? If this was really a tense story, you wouldn't need the camera. It could just be stationary. It would be a lot better. I would have definitely given this movie a lot more credit than I'm giving it right now. In terms of getting the first time actors ready, I do think they did a fantastic job. Like, I believe their performances for what they were, and I'd like to see a lot more from them, especially what's his name again?
Barkhad.
We got
Barkhad Abdi.
Yeah, I'd like to see. Yeah, him.
He's the captain.
I'd like to see a lot more from him in the future. Because I think that guy had the potential to be a great actor. But anyway, does anyone have any closing thoughts about director?
Also, another thing, Barkhad Abdi also said that while working on the film, Greengrass would actually go to him and just give him pointers. I mean, Abdi, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, Abdi specifically said that the director, Greengrass, actually mentored him throughout the whole film. He always come to him like, listen, you're doing a great job. If you could do this, this and that, this and that, this and that. Always gave him pointers.
A director should do.
Yeah, which is director should do. So,
and that's where it goes. My brother said, like, he could have went to Hanks and talked to him and chilled, but he went. Tom Hanks is a veteran. He knows what to do.
Exactly.
He went to the people who didn't know what to do.
So I mean, still give him credit for that. So moving on.
All right. Now we're going to talk about the controversy surrounding the film and the book that it's based on. For those of you at home who don't know, there's actually a big story that's been brewing for a while, that the story of Captain Phillips is actually the opposite, in which Captain Phillips was the arrogant, incompetent one, and the crew were worried for their own safety. And after the movie was filmed, 11 crew members, no, I'm sorry, not after the movie was filmed, after the incident, 11 crew members, the original incident in 2009, 11 of these crew guys sued the company for Captain Phillips putting them in danger. It was said that he would, when they were doing the safety drills in the movie, when they got the fire hoses out, they were actually doing a fire drill. They saw the pirates were approaching, and Captain Phillips said, "Oh, that's not pirates. Don't worry." He basically wrote them off. It's fishermen. Don't worry about it.
So he
was the one. He had gotten 7 emails.
7 emails,
about pirate attacks near the Somali coast, and he decided to bring his ship closer there, I think, to save time on the route. And at the end of the altercation, he and I believe 2 other crew members were taken into the lifeboat by the pirates, and the crew let him go willingly. And David brought to my attention was actually the chief engineer that was the one who saved everybody.
That whole scene where in the movie Tom Hanks tells everybody to go down in the lower deck, lock themselves in, cut off all the power, that is completely a lie. Captain Phillips does not do that. It's the engineer who says, fuck this, I'm going to do what I got to do. You guys come along with me. We're all going to go down below deck and lock everything up and shut off all the power. Captain Phillips, all he did was stand up on the bridge and put his hands in the air. Now, also, he was told in one of the emails to remain 600 miles off the coast of Somalia. Okay, I think that's the name of the country, correct?
That is.
Yeah. He stayed within 235 feet. He was told again and again, do not cross this line.
Feet or miles?
Yeah, feet or miles?
Feet, not miles. Sorry.
His feet, he's right on the
Oh,
shore,
my mistake. Miles. Overall, the point is, he didn't listen. Yeah, he went into the danger zone, and he didn't listen.
Go to the beach.
Now, maybe so, but it was the wrong beach he needed to go to. Okay. Also, to bring to you people's attention, the whole action scenes as far as hijacking the ship, the first attack, that's not how it happened.
There were 3 attacks, right?
There were 3 attacks.
Yeah.
2 attacks within 18 hours. Okay, that's twice in one day. All right. After those 2 attacks happened, And the next day came. They was like, okay, so we're going a different route. No, we're going to go back to the same route. They're not going to come back. And you had a crew member mutiny against him. Like, listen,
Really?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I read that.
you
too.
had people mutiny against him. Like, listen, what the hell are you doing?
Putting us in danger.
They didn't
Yeah,
try
you're
to
putting
save
up-
him when he got taken. They were like
Exactly.
basically good riddance.
You know what?
Wow.
They actually the engineer said, "Give us back our captain." He did say that.
But most of the crew members,
Most
were
of the crew members was like, "Yo, fuck it, fuck him." But the engineer was like, "Give us back our captain." Now, not one time did the real Captain Phillips say, "Oh, don't shoot them, shoot me, take me, I'm the captain." No, that they just took him.
bold-faced lie.
That bold-faced lie. They just took him.
Just
Just a simple. They were doing calculations. Okay, take the captain of the ship. The company's probably going to pay us money for him. Basic, simple calculations. Now, this captain has acquired a reputation. 12 years he's been a captain. Nobody in this company wants to sail with him.
Well, no. Actually, you have it a little bit wrong there. He's been a captain for longer. He's had a reputation, a bad reputation, going back 12 years. So
Okay,
he's
my
already
mistake.
had this rep. You know, people already didn't trust him. He was known to be arrogant, didn't listen to anybody. He was basically ignorant to the world around him.
Nobody wanted to be under his command. He was all for himself. He couldn't do no wrong in his eyes. When they got attacked, instead of doing a pirate drill, he had them doing a fire drill. He was a complete screw-up when it came to stuff like this. A guy under pressure who just completely disregarded everybody's safety. A lot of these crew members are suing for $50 million. They're suing the company.
Yeah, and what did Sony do?
They
paid.
they
them
made a
off.
movie.
Yeah.
Sony made a movie, and then they offered these crew members $5,000 to shut
shut their
up
mouths.
about the whole
Yeah,
thing.
But you know what? This was a controversy from the beginning. After the attack happened, he was presented an award by President Obama, and half the crew members, like, if I was on that crew, I'd be like, he doesn't deserve that.
We do.
You know, that's... You could say you're going against authority, but, you know, the truth has to be told, in my opinion.
Now, Captain Phillips isn't exactly a great liar, because here it says that in 2010, Phillips told CNN that the Maersk was 300 miles offshore. Published reports. Now, this is in documentation. I work in a job where documentation is everything. Okay? Published reports says
He works
from
in
that
the
time.
White House.
Yeah. From that time, the ship was at 240 miles. So he basically lied about where he was at. There are also times in this article where he can't recall some situations that happened. Even though the rest of the crew can recall him, he's like, I don't recall that.
Yeah, obviously, because he's got nothing to say, because he knows he was wrong. He just
Yeah,
can't
exactly.
admit
He
it.
knows he was wrong. But they allowed him to write a book. Now, when you're writing a book, of course you're going to make yourself look like the hero.
Well, was someone ghost writing it for him?
Yeah,
But
exactly.
That's actually a question I want to ask everybody, anyone who wants to answer. Like, what do you think that means? That, you know, do you think that means that everyone just wants a hero story, or like,
Of course they do. I mean, look, the guy. It said in the article. This is, by the way, where did we get this article from? So people
New
know.
York Post.
Okay, New York Post, yes.
All right, New York Post article published a few days ago since the movie came out.
Let's see where it was posted.
I think this was a few days ago. It's a recent article.
IGN also had a
This
link
was
to it too.
this was published October 13th, 2013, at 3:34 a.m.
Oh, thank God we had that.
Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
Not even surprised, because right after, it says in the article, right after he was rescued by the Navy, he became a hero right on spot. Basically, Obama met with him, talked to him, thanked him for being a hero, for getting his crew out of this invasion by the pirates. He became a hero, so what? Naturally, he's going to write a book, and naturally, Hollywood's going to get a director like Greengrass, because he does
I
fucking
wanted to say that so badly during
Patriot
the interview.
movies. Perfect guy. Like, let's get him to do another Patriot film, because this is what it ultimately ends up being.
I'm gonna ask you
It's
something.
not even Captain.
Ass.
Do you think that he decided to write this book, or do you think someone came up to it and says, "Hey, we want to hear the story of your noble heroic deed.
Oh,
I want you to
definitely
write a
got
book
beefed
for us.
up.
We'll get you a great writer to work with
and
you."
Plus, he was an arrogant guy. We know that. So, of course, once he's going to get an opportunity like this, hey, let's make a $50 million book idea, which can become a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Of course he's going to take it. And he's going to make himself the hero, or he probably didn't even write it, had someone else write it for him.
Well, someone else probably did write it. You think this guy was a writer?
No, he's an incompetent fool. He can't write a book. He got someone to write it for him. They made a movie out of it. He's a hero again. Now it's leaking out, but it's all going to get blown away because this movie is going to stand as a legacy for Captain Phillips over all the controversy. It'll blow away eventually.
Oh, you're just going to forget it because remember, guys, I told you upstairs. I was like, oh yeah, we did see this movie. I just totally forgot like the whole movie. So it's not a memorable movie, so.
I mean, unfortunately, America...
The event is,
but for the people that did watch it, they know it's based on a true story, and they're going to assume, like, oh, this really happened. Everyone does not take things with a grain of salt. Everyone just says, oh, this happened, this is fact. Like, I feel like a lot of people will not go the further route and be like, oh, let's do the research,
but
let's see.
My thing is this, it's like, David, and probably most of us, didn't read anything about this. Went to go see the movie.
To be honest... And this has nothing to do with that, but like I remember in 2009 hearing about this.
No,
I remember.
But like,
that day.
Yeah, like David, you didn't read this before.
No,
right?
I read this right after I saw the movie.
I knew nothing going into that movie.
That's the main reason I wanted to see it because I'm like,
no,
there's the
I know.
pirate
I'm just
incident.
saying, like it's whatever. You know, I mean, the events is tragic or whatever, but. What are you gonna do?
Also, it's said that Phillips and 3 other crew members were held at gunpoint on the bridge. Right? States here that when they said the rest of the crew said, "Yeah, we were hijacked. The ship was taken." Phillips says the ship was never taken, was never actually taken. I was in control the whole time. He's at gunpoint. That ship has no firearm whatsoever located in the ship.
That's his unwillingness to yield, to say like, "Oh yeah, I screwed up. I made a mistake."
Basically, my problem, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, this fact is going to impair my judgment in the rating.
And actually, I'm going to say, don't let it, because that's just controversy.
Yeah, don't let it.
If you rate a film,
it's like going to see a movie.
If you rate a film, it should be based on what's presented to you, not the controversy surrounding it.
And you didn't read it before.
Well,
you're reviewing
the movie.
movie.
If I read Stephen King,
I'll
Shining,
think about
that's
that.
my advice. Rate it for what you saw.
Shining, and then went to see the movie and hated it. I can understand that, but I saw the movie and then read the book and then I hate it.
Yeah, even if it's based on a book, just rate
I'll
what is presented.
We're reviewing the movie, not the story of Captain Phillips and his crew. So you know,
well, then let's get
that
back
shouldn't
to it.
Get right to what?
Get back to the movie.
Get back to the movie.
Well,
exactly.
I wanted to talk about
any
this
other
because
thoughts?
it's a big thing surrounding the story.
With the controversy about, I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing of it. I mean, if they're in the midst of suing him now, or the company now, I wouldn't post any judgment until after the decision comes down. I mean, we don't know jack shit about what happened there. And if there's 20 guys on the crew, okay, and one of them becomes famous, gets a book deal, gets a movie deal, are we not going to sue and get our money? I mean, who knows what happened while you were there? You can't, just because it's printed in a paper in the Post doesn't mean it's true. I mean, the Post is pretty much crap in the news world compared to other newspapers. Okay. Even the Daily News is a little more. I'm not saying it can't be true, okay? Yeah. What I'm saying is you got to see how it turns out. Well, if the company settles, then that says something, okay? But it doesn't at the same time. They're a big company. Maybe they don't want to go through legal hassle for 10 years. Reports on like the guy's arrogance and his incompetence could very well be true. Unless you're speaking like his superiors that have all the reports about him, I wouldn't know. That's the thing. I just wouldn't know. And even hearing it from a crew member whose life almost got taken from him from this ordeal, there's always got to be somebody to blame, you know? Mm-hmm. Are they suing Phillips in a civil suit? If not, and they're only suing the company for damages, that says something to me too, okay? So the controversy has no reflection on the film to me whatsoever. My hatred for Greengrass has no reflection on the film, whatever. I think it's an important issue to see where it goes. But again, when the news first reported on this back in 2009, they're not talking about the crew on the boat. They're talking about the captain that's in the lifeboat. Oh my God, he's held captive alone away from everybody. Then he gets saved. Of course, president's going to fly. They need a hero. They need something to come out of it. And show America that we're strong against the pirates. So a story like this is interesting. I'd like to see where it goes. To me, it just sounds like Like the last line in that, like, oh, it's entertaining. I mean, I didn't read the whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah, but the last line, he's like, yeah, that's entertaining.
But who's there to dispute what these guys are saying?
But it wouldn't really surprise me if these guys did fabricate a story for the sake of the script, because this is, as we all know, this is the real world, and shitty stuff happens. And if you actually take the literal shit that has happened and put it into a movie, it's going to depress a lot of people. So what Hollywood does is like, let's sugarcoat it, and it is true. You can't say that it's not true.
Yes and no.
It is true. Hollywood sugarcoats some shit to a certain extent.
Yeah,
I don't think it's sugarcoating so much as everyone loves a hero story. If they did the right thing based on a true story so soon, everyone would be like, "Oh wow, that's a little disheartening." But who, like you said, who's to say if it's true or not?
Not every story
but
is cinematic.
Everyone will go see a hero story. Everyone wants. That's why the movie's called Captain Phillips.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I disagree with what Danny just said. That not every story is cinematic. That guy, John Campea from AMC Movie Talk, always says that anything can make a movie. It just depends on how you write it, how you direct it. You can make a movie about me and Kerry just going down the block to get a pack of gum, and it could be a thriller. Okay, I think Hollywood is a business. The book world is a business. They need to make money. Okay, if 10 years from now, if we still cared about Captain Phillips, and something came out with the true story of what happened on the Alabama, and showed this guy's negligence and incompetence and how he took so much credit to be a hero, then that's something I would want to see. Okay? And I think that's something that would be deserved to be made in honor of people on the crew that stood up for themselves and did
like
the
a
right
documentary,
thing.
basically.
Not even. Just like a TV movie or something like that.
Yeah, I feel that same way, too.
Okay? Like, again, the whole events of what happened, I don't know. I took the movie for what it was. I tried to forget what I saw in the news back when it happened or when this guy was interviewed and stuff like that. And now with this article, if I see it again, the article is not going to be in my mind whatsoever. I'm saying if it's a story worth telling, someone should tell that story and discredit this guy. Okay, and that's really all I got to say about that.
I just feel like they took the story and went, it's not.
Why take the money? Why take the money? Did they take the $5,000 from Sony?
I don't know. Did they?
We don't know.
Yeah,
hey, they could have, and they could still be complaining.
I think they did, and they're still going to try.
In the article, it says they don't give the name because he's anonymous.
My number one thing is that I do believe most of the time some things aren't just so cinematic. It just doesn't work. It doesn't look good on film. So you could take this article, and they could have done the film. Could have been good, it could have been bad. Most likely, this is what they went.
It wouldn't have been called Captain Phillips.
No, it just would have been the crew.
No, it would have
been Maersk or something. Yeah.
Arrogant asshole.
And that's what they went a different route that felt a little bit more easier to do, a little bit more tighter,
more
about this
patriotic,
guy,
a little more heroic, a little more
comfort zone. These movies,
and you gotta think, and you got to think the director. What's his name again?
Greengrass.
Fuckface. This
Fuqua.
This guy.
Fuqua.
Fuqua. This Fuqua. This dude, he's not that talented. You know. Look, he makes Hollywood movies. I give him that. He did something to get there. All the respect, but I just don't think he's that talented to take a story like this and make it fantastic. You know, we got what we got, and it's just a good movie.
Honestly, now that you guys bring up the article, if this article, what it says, if this was all made into a movie, honestly, I think it might have been a better movie.
You know, I have a question though. Yeah. Would this all be relevant 10 years from now, though?
No,
probably not.
Probably not.
No.
Like most
it's relevant now.
It's a story they wanted to capitalize on. This was a time to do it. If you do it too early,
it didn't make money. It didn't make a lot of money. Right?
It made decent.
Okay.
It made more than. There was another Oscar movie that came out a year ago. This made more than that. I forgot what it was. Something came out a year ago.
Now was the time to cash in on this story. You couldn't do this 5 years from now. It had to be now. They did it. It's over with, and it's just going to fizzle out after this. Nobody's going to care.
It's not going to be around Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's the way. But honestly, it's sad to say, but that's the way history is. Nobody's gonna care. Nobody's gonna care, and even if regardless if it's the American people
care about.
No, regardless if it's the American people or any other people out in the world, because what affects us won't affect any other body, won't necessarily affect another person in the part of the world, because they'll probably forget about it too. They're probably like, oh well, that's tragic. Anyways, going on with
any closing thoughts on the controversy stuff?
No, not really. I think we've gone well into that, more than I thought we would. So, but does anyone else have anything to say before we start the ratings, or no?
Let's jump right into ratings.
Then we're just gonna go around the circle again. Kerry, what's your closing thoughts on the movie?
3.5.
Why?
5. As much as I like Paul said, I can't let my hatred for green trash get in the way of my rating, because as a movie, ignoring the controversy, because I mean, as far as we know, it could all be bullshit. It could be a stunt to get people to see the movie. Now, we don't know if it's fabricated. There's no point in talking about it as a rating impairment, because as a movie, it is entertaining. I really was entertained by the movie. I was at points I was really into it. Not at the edge of my seat, maybe, but maybe if you steady cam, I would have. I really enjoyed the movie, and it kept me interested. Even through the whole Navy training bullshit, I was still kind of interested. I was like, this is cool to see how the Navy deals with these kind of hostage situations. And like the whole first half is awesome, because it's basically like, you guys said, Die Hard on a boat. I really like that. And even though maybe Phillips wasn't like that, but the Phillips in the movie is really a cool character.
Yeah.
Because he's that guy you want to be. He's in charge. He takes precautions. He gets shit done. He gets shit done, and he takes care of the situation as bad as it gets, even with an incompetent crew that he's given a bad hand, and he deals with it. It's really cool to see those kind of movies, and I don't know, it just kind of strikes a chord with me, because I'm big on like Die Hard and those kind of movies. So I thought that was really cool to see. Other than that, like Greengrass, I don't like the guy, but I think he did a cool job with the movie, despite the whole camera shaking and everything. Ultimately, it was a good job, and I think 3.5 is right, because that's like saying it's a good movie. It's not great, it's not bad, it's not poor, it's good. That's really it. Danny,
I'm gonna give it a 3. I think it's a good movie. Did I like it? When I walked out of the movie theater, I liked it. A couple days later, I forgot about it. It's a forgettable movie to me. The only 2 things I remember from it, actually 3 things. One I don't like, and that's Paul Asshole, whatever his name is.
Called Trash Bag.
Trash Bag. I just don't like his style. But I respect where he went with it. Again, with that article, he could have done it that way, but I don't think he's that fucking talented to take a story to that level or to tell it. Tom Hanks is good, and the pirates are great in it. So that's my thing. It's just a good movie to me, but I don't like it that much. It's forgettable.
David?
Okay, whether the movie is interpretation or fabrication, I give it a 3.
Okay.
I give it a 3 because it's well made. It's not a terrible movie. Tom Hanks, I mean, he's solid, but him acting as if he was just cool. He was a cool character. Inside the lifeboat with Somali pirates armed to the teeth. I'm sorry, I don't buy that. I don't buy that you're calm and collective. Like you've been in this situation before. No, you haven't.
If he was,
it
would make sense.
It was, but he wasn't. So that doesn't make sense.
Who's to say he wasn't? This fictional character. Who's to say he was never placed in a situation with pirates? You don't know that.
Well,
the movie didn't tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, but
the movie
there's
doesn't
room
tell
for
us. And
interpretation.
trust me, it would have been. It would have
interpretation.
But trust and believe. This is about an American hero. They would have involved that info. They would have put that info.
Possibly.
No, definitely. Definitely.
Again, with Greengrass.
When you are trying to make this guy look as great as you are, you're gonna take every bit of information that makes him look good, and you're gonna put him in there. That's the way people do it. Definitely, they would have put that in there. So it wasn't in there. I'm gonna take it as this is his first time in a situation. So I didn't buy the fact that he was just cool, calm, and collective. I just don't buy that fact.
It's just like Clooney. He's
I was
trained
ask you,
to know.
how do you guys believe Clooney in Gravity, but you don't believe
Well,
Hanks in the
All right,
I
here.
don't understand.
I'll give you it right here. Because in Clooney, he said, and Ed Harris says, yo, you've been around the block 400 times.
Exactly.
There was no moment in this movie that they said, this dude has been in a situation like
Exactly.
But there's a training protocol.
Yeah.
There
But
is.
dude, you have to, like, if they just went, if the crew guy went
you're-
like, yo, remember that time? Or, yeah, that guy's been around
If
a
you're in
couple
charge
times
of a
or
ship,
whatever.
attacked by the pirates, your first time out on the wars. We're going to get back to reviews. This is just going to be really quick. What are you going to do? Are you going to freak out? Because your rest of your crew is going to freak out. You're going to try your best to keep it together while inside you're freaking sweating bullets,
Yeah.
man. You have to keep a calm exterior. Even if inside you're like, holy shit, we're dead. You
No,
know,
no,
I don't think we're
I
getting
I
out of
understand
this.
that you have to do it,
Mhm.
but
The
can you
information
do it?
wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd have the position if he couldn't do it. Okay, that's
Well,
what captains are. Captain Kirk wouldn't be in charge of the Enterprise if he wasn't able to handle those situations. That's my opinion.
It's poor,
Anyway,
bad storytelling.
back on track.
It's like I said, I give it a 3 because I still don't buy it. I still don't buy it. It's poor storytelling, as Danny says. It's poor storytelling. So that's just my opinion. Paul?
I'd give this a 4. Everything that I think is lacking about it, it still doesn't take away from what's there. It is well directed. It isn't greatly directed. It's very well acted. The cinematography was good besides the Shaky-Cam. Okay, the film looked good. It's very difficult to film things at sea. Okay, so that takes gotta take that into consideration. And again, the outcome of the film was the ending was the best part of the film. Okay, which a lot of films aren't these days. Okay, you get to your climax, and then the last 5-10 minutes of the film, you're like, that's how they're gonna end it. So, out of everything this year, it is one of the best. I'm sure it'll be off that list in the next 2 months. But right now, it's definitely up there. But it's gonna go away quick.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3 out of 5. Reading for it, this would actually be a 2 if it wasn't for Tom Hanks and of his name here, Barkhad Abdi. And I really like the performances. I personally have nothing against Paul Greengrass as a director. I think he's made movies that I like. I don't think he's one of the best, but I do like him. It's just I could do without the shaky style. That's it. Like I think I'm done seeing his movies in the theater or eating before them because that was not fun. And the freaking chicken tenders I had too, weren't agreeing with me either. But anyway, we could do another podcast about movie food. That'll be a big one. But
Can't wait.
yeah, mine's a 3 out of 5. This is a good movie. If you're interested at all in this event that happened or seeing this movie, go see it. If you're just a big Tom Hanks fan, check it out.
What's the overall rating we give?
What's our average, Paul?
It falls at 3.3, so we'll say 3.5. 3.5 for this.
That's it. 3.5 we give as a group for this movie. So yeah, go see it if you're interested. That's what I'd say. Anyway, signing off. This is Mike.
This is Kerry.
I'm Danny.
I'm David.
This is Paul.
And this is Where It's At.
Peace.